Nietzsche exposed the truth about women, and no one listened. He said it outright. And the world chose to ignore him, not because he was wrong, but because he made people uncomfortable. Friedrich Nietzsche saw something most people didn't want to see. He stared directly into the dark machinery behind human behavior, love, power, gender, morality, and called it what it was. And when he turned his gaze toward women, what he found was so raw, so unapologetic, that generations tried to silence it with mockery, labels, and half-truths. But today, we're not here to cancel him. We're here to understand him. Because the truth Nietzsche saw still holds power. And if you dare to look through his lens, you'll see the same patterns playing out today, beneath the noise, behind the smiles, inside the systems. Nietzsche didn't hate women. He hated illusions. He hated self-deception. And he refused to ignore the power plays that shape human dynamics. This video isn't about agreeing with Nietzsche. It's about confronting the uncomfortable clarity he offered. You were warned by the title. Now let's dig in. Part 1. The Misquoted Monster. Everyone thinks they know Nietzsche. The quote circulates like a curse. When you go to women, don't forget the whip. The world heard that and stopped listening. But context matters. That quote wasn't Nietzsche speaking as himself. It came from a character in his philosophical novel, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, a symbolic figure, a provocateur. Nietzsche's Zarathustra wasn't preaching, it was provoking. What Nietzsche did was hold up a mirror, and people smashed it instead of looking into it. The whip wasn't literal, it was metaphorical, an image of dominance and danger, aimed at stirring a deeper examination of how men and women relate, compete, and deceive. He wasn't suggesting violence. He was exposing tension, a power struggle, a coded battlefield dressed in social rituals and romantic language. Nietzsche didn't believe in moral platitudes or polite lies. He believed in confrontation. And when he dissected femininity, he wasn't mocking it. He was revealing the tactics. Because in Nietzsche's world, everyone fights for power. Some use strength, some use softness, but everyone plays the game. And if that quote still offends you, good. It means you're still listening. Nietzsche used offense like a scalpel to peel back the skin of society's hypocrisies. Part 2. The Power Games. Nietzsche saw gender as warfare disguised as affection. Beneath every flirtation, every vow, every role, there were forces moving. The will to power didn't pause for romance. It adapted. It masked itself. It seduced. He saw traditional femininity not as weakness, but as a stealth form of control. The ability to influence without commanding, to win without fighting. He called it what it was, strategic. Not manipulative in the petty sense, but powerful in the primal sense. To Nietzsche, women were not helpless. They were masterful players in a silent game of dominance. While men pursued power through assertion, Nietzsche believed women often gained it through perception, charm, and psychological leverage. And the tragedy? Men mistook that for innocence, for purity. He called it out, and society called him a monster. But Nietzsche wasn't mocking women. He was warning men. Don't confuse attraction with truth. Don't let desire blind you to the dynamics at play. If you think love removes the struggle for control, you're already losing. He warned that when men ignore the feminine drive for influence, they underestimate their opponent. And that makes them vulnerable, not just in romance, but in every social interaction shaped by gender roles. Part 3. The gender illusion equality was never Nietzsche's concern. Strength was, resilience, self-mastery. In his world, asking whether men and women are equal missed the point. Nature doesn't care about fairness, it cares about results. Nietzsche challenged the very foundation of modern identity politics before the term even existed. He didn't see men and women as two halves of a peaceful whole. He saw them as rival forces, driven by biological imperatives and psychological tactics, and he didn't flinch from that reality. To Nietzsche, gender was not a social construct. It was a battlefield. You don't win by demanding neutrality. You win by mastering your form of power. For men, that might be assertion. For women, it might be suggestion. Neither is superior. Both are weapons. The strong woman, to Nietzsche, wasn't the one who adopted male aggression. She was the one who mastered her own game, the power of mystique, of rhythm, of emotional influence. The feminine warrior doesn't fight by male rules. She bends reality by understanding the terrain better than anyone else. This wasn't misogyny. This was realism, brutal, cold realism. And for Nietzsche, that was the only kind worth trusting. Part 4. Love Deconstructed. Nietzsche didn't believe in love as salvation. He believed in it as strategy, as mutual manipulation, as temporary madness that served deeper instincts. He wrote, "Love is a state in which a man sees things most decidedly as they are not." Love, to him, was a lie we tell ourselves to soften the truth, that every relationship is a negotiation of power, that even devotion can be domination in disguise. For Nietzsche, the romantic ideal was a myth designed to tame us, to turn dangerous creatures into obedient partners. But beneath that myth, hunger, fear, control. We don't fall in love with people. We fall in love with what they represent: security, status, fertility, escape. It's not cynical, it's biological, and Nietzsche had the courage to say it. Love is not immune to the will to power. It is a battlefield where truth and illusion wage war. The wise don't reject love, they interrogate it. Part 5. The will to power. Has no gender. Here's where it gets real. Nietzsche didn't want women to be weak or men to be dominant. He wanted everyone to embrace their will to power, that core drive to rise, to impose meaning on a chaotic world, to reject herd thinking and build your own values. He saw strength as individual, not gendered, and the people he respected, regardless of sex, were the ones who could create themselves. To him, a powerful woman wasn't one who demanded equality. She was one who didn't ask for permission, who shaped the world around her without apology, who knew the game, played it well, and transcended it. Nietzsche didn't want fairness. He wanted greatness. And greatness never comes from playing safe. When people ask what Nietzsche would think of modern gender debates, they forget this. He wouldn't care about inclusion. He would care about excellence. Not who you are, what you do, not what you feel, what you build. Subscribe before we continue. Because if you made it this far, you already know. This isn't a feel-good channel. This is a war room. And you're here because you're ready for truth, not comfort. You're not here to be pacified. You're here to be sharpened. We speak the language of strength. We don't flinch from hard ideas. We embrace them. Part 6. Why the world rejected him. Society needs comfort to survive, and Nietzsche offered none. He tore down the narratives that hold modern civilization together. The lie of universal morality, the illusion of romantic purity, the false promise of egalitarianism. And so, the world buried him, labeled him, misunderstood him, because to accept Nietzsche is to question everything: your values, your relationships, yourself. He was too raw, too dangerous, too early. But now, a century later, we're seeing the same cracks he pointed at, the same conflicts, the same illusions breaking down. Maybe, just maybe, it's time we listened. Nietzsche predicted the collapse of meaning, the rise of nihilism, the chaos that comes when old values die but new ones haven't been born. We are living in that moment. The abyss he warned about is here. And what did he tell us to do? To become the fire that forges new values, to reject comfort, to build strength. Part 7. Nietzsche's Women, Reimagined. It's easy to think Nietzsche reduced women to symbols of manipulation, but dig deeper. Look at the women he admired: independent thinkers, artists, rebels. not obedient housewives, not submissive followers. His sister, Elizabeth, tried to co-opt his legacy, twisted it to fit her nationalist agenda, but even she couldn't rewrite his core message, that power respects power, not appearances, not sentiment, not tradition. Nietzsche didn't define women by their gender. He defined them by their spine, and in that sense, he gave them more credit than most men of his time. His philosophy demands that we judge individuals, not groups, not genders. That we ask not, is this woman equal to a man, but is this person capable of creating their own values? That's the Nietzschean question, and it's more relevant now than ever. Part 8. What you should take from this. This video isn't a defense of Nietzsche. It's a confrontation with his ideas. You don't have to agree with him, but you owe it to yourself to understand him. Because the modern world is full of noise, everyone pretending to be virtuous, pretending to be fair. Nietzsche cuts through that noise like a blade. He says, forget what you're supposed to believe. Ask what's real. Ask who benefits. Ask where the power is. In your life, in your relationships, in your choices. Are you playing the game or being played? That's what Nietzsche wanted you to see. That's why he still matters. Final blow. He wasn't wrong. He was just early. Society wasn't ready for Nietzsche's lens. His critique wasn't gentle, but it was honest. He didn't want flattery. He wanted fire. And the fire he lit is still burning, even if most are too afraid to look at the smoke. Nietzsche exposed the games beneath our smiles, the weapons behind our words, the instincts beneath our civility. He wasn't trying to insult you. He was trying to wake you up. Now the question is, are you awake? This is Valoric. Subscribe and rise with us, because we're not here to fit in. We're here to dominate.